Who would have thought it would have almost been 2 years since Eula had a rerun? Crazy, isn't it? This video is going to be about her. She's been memed upon multiple times about getting a rerun, but she's finally getting one. I'll go over how she performs in-game and her overall value, and if she's worth using. I've had Eula ever since her first banner and triple crowned her, so I hope you enjoy my complete and honest thoughts about Eula. Remember to sub and like if you enjoyed, it would really mean a lot if we could reach 3k subs. Thanks guys, I really appreciate it. So how exactly does she perform in-game compared to everyone else, and what are some problems you might see? Eula is undoubtedly the best physical DPS carry in the game, which can be a bit deceiving at first since she's cryo, but that's besides the point. Her damage and rotations are mainly focused around her burst and normal attacks. The burst is more complicated out of the two, so let's explain that. After you cast Eulas Burst, you have 7 seconds to build up stacks to increase the explosion caused by the Lightfall Sword. Every time she hits an enemy during the 7 seconds, she gains a stack, and it will explode early when she swapped out. And the reason why this grabbed a lot of people's attention is that this attack theoretically has the highest single-hitting attack in the entire game. This is one of the hardest hitting attacks to ever exist, and while that's cool and all, I honestly think this mechanic can be extremely overrated by a lot of people sometimes. At first, when everyone saw this, people thought that Eula was going to be game-breaking, but over time, people came to see that this mechanic just isn't all that practical. Let me explain. A lot of her damage comes from her burst, and it's known as a backloaded source of damage. This means that there is a delay between the time you actually cast the burst and the actual effect or damage. There are many things that could go wrong within these 7 seconds. Having to reliably try and space yourself between enemies so that they all get hit by it is a nightmare. The Lightfall Sword missing a single target is one of the worst feelings I've ever had using her, and it only gets worse when it does hit, but it just doesn't decide to crit. This is also assuming you are able to reliably get as many stacks as you can. If you're playing against very mobile enemies, it's just not going to be fun trying to get all the stars to align. So if you're ever interested in becoming a Eula main, make sure you learn how to use the retry button in your combos. Her playstyle is like putting all of your eggs in one basket. A lot of her damage comes from her burst, and if something goes wrong, it's all downhill from there. You need to invest a lot of time into Eula to make her work, both in terms of gameplay and team building. Unfortunately, Eula creates a very selfish playstyle, which isn't really new to many hypercarry type characters, but this problem sticks out a lot, especially when it comes to playing Eula. In order to get full value out of her kit, you need to spend a lot of time on field with her, since she is the main DPS. She just isn't really that flexible in terms of team building either, since she is a physical carry, which in itself is already a problem that I won't go too deep into. Basically, physical means no reactions means less damage and less consistency between rotations. And this is especially noticeable on Eula since her burst is very expensive and can take quite some time to charge energy. A lot of Eula teams like to build into the damage that she can do. A lot of them also just really like to build around her and her only. On the bright side, Eula does pretty good damage despite being a physical carry. Her normal attacks hit pretty hard, which is really nice for some downtime if you don't have your burst up, and you would only really need Superconduct for the debuff as well. Her teams have a high damage floor but a low damage ceiling, since you can't really do much to increase her physical damage, unless you have constellations, but we won't get into that. So what's her overall value? As much as I have been talking down upon Eula, I actually do think her kit is well designed and easy to understand. Aside from some occasional inconsistencies with her burst, it's really unfortunate because if she wasn't a physical damage-oriented unit, if she did damage of literally any other element, she would be so much better. It really doesn't help her case when most Abyss cycles just aren't in Eula's favor, especially the one right now with all the elemental shields. Using Eula on the second side literally feels impossible. I do think she's a good character. She can get the job done with investment, obviously. I think she's overrated by the casual side and overhated from a meta standpoint. Eula's a solid character, but there are better options for DPS characters. She's more of a luxury DPS if you like her and want to get her. I don't really see myself recommending Eula over a lot of other characters, but she is fun and satisfying to use when she does work. She also works in Hyperbloom, so that's cool, I guess. Just keep in mind, if you like getting strong characters, Eula isn't the most powerful unit out there, but she can work if you're willing to invest into her. I would only really say it's worth going for her if you already have 2 very strong teams and you have the patience to build into her. But hey, it's been over 600 days, I think, since her last banner, so who knows when she'll be back. Obviously, if you like her, it's worth pulling for her. I don't think anyone should change your mind about that. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Remember to sub and like if you enjoyed. It would really mean a lot if we could reach 3k subs soon. Have a good night and day wherever you're at, and I'll see you all next time. Peace, and take care guys. Have a good one.